But then you raised something that was really good, is that you started off with something that was a deal breaker. Then you said, you know what, this person has these other qualities which are really good. Do you then think that we can evolve what we look for in a relationship or in a partner going forward as we get older, maybe know a little bit more?
Definitely. I think, the beauty of aging and learning from our mistakes. And that's why I always say dating is a really important part of the journey because you get to observe yourself and make sure you don't repeat the same mistakes you did in the past. Because as human beings, we love to repeat the same friggin' mistakes. We just hate change. Like it's like our behaviors or patterns, especially if we've never worked on our self-awareness and we don't know why we're doing what we're doing, we keep repeating the same shit over and over and over again. So that's why I say one of the main keys for you to succeed in relationship is to develop your self-awareness. Why do I want what I want? Why do I need what I need? Why do I get triggered when someone says this? Or why do I get reactive? Why was I attracting unemotionally available men? I didn't realize what my issue was until I was 38 years old. So of course I couldn't fix my problem. So when you are aware of why things are happening or you're reacting or getting triggered or why you want things, that's half of the battle already done because you have the awareness of it. So now you can start transforming, changing, and applying little small daily baby steps to rewiring your brain and old behaviors and patterns that you've had for most of your life, which is, everybody often wants the magic blue pill. So this is the beauty of aging. If you take the time to learn and observe yourself, since the self-awareness, I think you really start seeing what's really important. And for me, I would say the thing that I've noticed was all the superficial stuff that I used to look for, including height and status and looks, were no longer important to me. I remember the last 6 months prior to meeting my fiance, the one thing I wanted was to have a good conversation. I don't care who you are, what you look like, how you dress. I want you to have a really good conversation. I like to have in-depth conversation. I call it the philosophy of life, la philosophie de la vie. So I wanted to be able, if I was going to be out with someone, to actually just have a good conversation. So that was something I had really decided that was important to me. So you do not attract or start looking for the same people the same way. And I even remember my one of my healers that I've worked with, because I work with numerous witches and healers and all you can think of. And she had suggested to me this new online dating app. And I was like, listen, I've been through all of them. I've been single long enough. No, I'm not doing it anymore. And she's like, I think you should visit it. It's new. The pool of men is like really good quality. And she's like, if you're going to do it, you need to bring in a new approach, meaning start looking at men you would have typically never looked at. So again, it goes back to the triangle of love, big difference between what you think you want, what you attract, and what's right for you. And look for the different energies. And I decided to try that. And sure enough, it's I got on the app and I met my fiance. I talked to two guys and he was one of the two. And he was an older man. I never wanted to date older men. Actually, that's not true. I always wanted to date older men, but I can never seem to draw them in for some reason. So I decided to try everything different from what I had tried. So I do believe the wisdom of life, if you've chosen to learn from your mistakes and you're able to do an inventory of what has worked, what you realize that you've done in relationships in the past that hasn't paid off, and what were your behaviors in that relationship that didn't pay off, and you identify those. And it's like, how am I going to change now going forward in the future to make sure I don't repeat those same mistakes? You change everything in your approach on how you do. And as you're starting to date, you pay attention. Am I going back to these old ways of doing, like, for example, you could be a people pleaser So when you start dating, you're so obsessed with wanting to please the person because you want to be liked so much, so you lose yourself. You start forgetting, I actually go to the gym 3 times a week. What do you mean? You want to see me on the nights that I go to the gym 3 nights a week? And then you start compromising and dating this person on the 3 nights a week that you actually typically go to the gym. So you're people pleasing in a very negative way because you're forgetting to put yourself first.
Why do you think then so many people don't reflect inward to find out what needs to be fixed, but they more so rage outward and blame others on what's going on?
Honestly, I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this question because I've always questioned from inwards. Like I always reflected myself. Like it was always I don't know, a natural thing for me. I think a lot of people are afraid of what comes with that and dealing and being confronted with the reality and having to do the changes. And as I said, as human beings, we just hate change. It's just we're so comfortable and set in our own ways. So we often really have to hit rock bottom to actually finally, or as we loved, as the expression goes, find the dark night of the soul to actually come out and like seek the light once and for all. I really find it's too bad because there's so much value. I think back as soon as I started really diving and understanding where this behavior, why I was getting the results I was getting, where this came from, is just like I understand everything now, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault at all. So I get to empower myself and do something about it. And I think that's where people get stuck too. They often want to do things on their own and don't ask or seek for help. And I mean, today, the beauty of a podcast like yours or social media is that there's access to so much information. We're having conversations like these that were not even had 10 years ago. So I definitely feel when I talk to early 20s um people, the conversation is very, very different than people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, 100%. But yeah, I really I really don't know why people don't want to dive and dig a little bit more.